Over the past 2 years, I've told myself that when I can climb 7A, I can sleep easy. That seemed like such a far away, long-term goal. One day it might happen. And once I've done it, I've got the carrot. I've basically completed climbing. 7A is such an outrageously difficult thing for me to do. I'm not one of those freak gym rats that goes to V9 in their first year, or one of those fearless new climbers that just takes to ropes like a duck to water. To get this far has been a journey. It seemed like maybe, if I was in shape and I found the right route, my peak might just edge me up to 7A. For one route, for one day, for just 5 minutes of climbing. And to get there would be so incredibly arduous and grueling for me and require such composure and mental fortitude, there would just be no point in ever trying to top that. That would be it. That would be my silence, my dawn wall, my burden of dreams, the pinnacle, the end. I'm not saying I would quit climbing, I would just quit trying. I'd have achieved all that I can, and now I'll just cruise 6Bs until, well, death. So my friend Tiff showed me this route at a crag called Rob's Reed. It's a really sustained 7A on this chossy conglomerate rock. At first it looks outrageously blank, with 1,000 pebbles, all of them garbage, and the footholds were either tiny or rounded and slippy. And all of that before this intimidating bulge to the chains. To my surprise, I could actually do the crux and get over the scary bulge, but it was so relentless on the forearms that it felt like a lead attempt was years away. It's a fitness issue. If I was fitter, I might be able to do this. The thing about this crag is there's a little quirk. It actually closes for 2 months each year, September and October, so all the deer that live there can make little baby deers. When it opens again in November, the season is over and it'll be spring before I can get another shot at it. So there's not enough time to get fitter, but there is time to get good.
Good. Good fight.
By session 3, things were going really well, but at this point it was only 5 days until the crag closes for the season.
I've got the beta for the crux, I just can't remember it now. I don't know why I'm always forgetting.
Luckily, I filmed it all, so we can watch it back if you want.
I know, but it's hard to. There's so many goddamn pebbles.
The crux is always the issue. It's extremely sequencey, and everything looks exactly the same. 2 seemingly identical pebbles could provide you drastically different outcomes. One can be the grippy Hail Mary that you need, and the other can spit your foot off with no warning at all. This move here is very precise, and your right thumb has to be right there. Otherwise you're off.
This climb's pretty sustained, and it has a very obvious crux, and it's this section here. This side pull is kind of crap. It gets better up here, but you can't grip it there until you move further up. And you've got this terrible pebble here. So you're kind of in this position. And this pebble here has caused so many problems. This little bastard here. It feels good and it looks good, but as soon as you put your foot on it, it's off. Like, you can't put any weight on it. The rest of the climbing is not that bad, but you're just so gassed from this crux that it's very, very difficult to actually finish the climb from there.
After that sequence, it's a case of finding the good pebbles out of a sea of garbage to conserve the gas tank before getting to the monster rest.
This is the obviously scary part of the climb because it's just quite far back from where you were climbing, so it feels incredibly steep. But there are good holds here. The problem is there's too many of them. There's too many holds. Most of them are kind of crap, but some of them are jugs. But it's so hard to see because of the lichen and just abundance of...
This episode is sponsored by Altitude Climbing. If you've watched me on this journey, you'll know that falling is an issue for me, specifically the fear of falling. It's something a huge number of people struggle with, and it can be difficult to know how to start dealing with it. This week's sponsor, Altitude, founded by Magnus Mitbo, have teamed up with climbing legend Hazel Finlay to create a brand new online course titled Overcome Fear of Falling, which will help you eliminate your fear of falling in just 6 weeks. I've been lucky enough to have early access, and I can tell you this course is fantastic, covering so much more than just fall practice. Hazel talks about being responsible for your own climbing experience, developing a growth mindset, and the science behind stress and fear. So Hazel has you covered whether you're struggling with lead, top rope, bouldering, both indoor and outdoor. The course comes out on the 2nd of October, but right now you can head to altitudeclimbing.com/Mike to sign up for a free mini training that Hazel and Altitude have put together to see if the style suits your needs. The course dispels some of the biggest myths and perhaps bad advice when it comes to overcoming the fear of falling, and why the most common advice, like just take more falls, can actually hinder your progress. In addition, when you sign up, you'll be sent a free assessment to see how fear affects your climbing and find out how your fear index compares to other climbers. So if you want to climb at your limit without having a meltdown because you're above the clip or high up on a boulder, then head to altitudeclimbing.com/Mike. You've got nothing to lose here because the fear assessment and the mini course are completely free. Thanks to Altitude Climbing for supporting the channel. Back to the video. By session 4, something strange was starting to happen. Without getting any fitter, I started to feel fitter. My beta was getting so refined that areas in the climb that I'd written off as no rest zones started feeling like a 30% rest, 40%, 50%, 60% rest. It is astounding how a twist of the hip, or a drop knee, or just weighting your feet slightly differently can change an absolutely desperate crimp into a bomber rest. It's one of the things I absolutely love about projecting routes. I do realise, by the way, that in all these clips I'm actually wearing the exact same outfit. Same t-shirt, same trousers, same shoes, same harness, same helmet. I'm not saying I wash the clothes between sessions, but they are actually different sessions. I promise. As soon as I was able to recover after that crux sequence, I knew there was nothing more to be done. It was send time. On the very first lead attempt, I pulled an absolute Mike special and forgot the sequence straight away and dropped it. But I always feel way better after a wee fall anyway. It gets rid of all those nerves. Back to the ground for another attempt, and something magical happens.
Yeah. Okay, doc.
I get into that ephemeral, trance-like meditative mindset that is just so rare with climbing. That comfortable state of ultra clarity, stillness, and just pure climbing bliss. It's like when Neo finds out he really is the one and just he can do it whatever he wants. That's what it feels like. Every climbing session that I do is basically training to get into that state of being, and I can almost never achieve it. But when I do, I love it. And you know what? It wasn't even hard.
Oh. Okay, take.
7A, 7A, baby! I can't believe it! Mike!
I feel so strange. I've just been working on this for so long, and I didn't think I was going to get it in that attempt. Like, it was kind of just to see how far up I could get. I don't know, it's like just totally so overwhelmed that I kind of don't even feel anything. That's why I'm feeling a bit flat, is because my goal was E1, V6 and 7A, and I've done them all in the last 2 weeks. To think that now the project is E2 and 7B is just like, no.
No!
No, that was so hard, I can't do 7B. I'll never be able to do 7B, do you know what I mean?
I don't know if other climbers experience this after a success with a long-term goal. Melancholy. A distinct flatness. There's a bit in Finding Nemo where the fish finally escape the dentist's office and they make it to the ocean and Bloat says,
"Now what?"
That's it right there. You've achieved this monumental goal, but then you realise you're still just a fish in a sandwich bag floating in the ocean. It was over. There was nowhere to go. I'd won. Whatever game this was, I'd finished it. And I felt garbage. I think I'm suffering from post-send blues. I mean, it's not serious. I definitely feel a bit empty and a bit lost. I've been doing some bouldering and, you know, I've actually been climbing harder than ever. But it just doesn't really feel, I don't know, I don't feel that oomph. I don't have any projects right now, but at the same time I don't feel like emotionally ready to take on another big project like that. Like, I need a break. I'm in kind of purgatory right now. I wonder if other people feel this way after a hard project. Let me know. I'm just a bit lost. After a week of feeling sorry for myself, finally the answer came to me. It was obvious. I'd been looking at this wrong the whole time. There is no end. There's no winning or completing. There will never be an end to the climbing. There's just an endless gauntlet of sends, chalk, boulders, roots, cruxes, whippers, injuries, crap, connies, rusty bolts, sketchy landings, sandbags, climbing trips and projects. There's always a bigger carrot at the end of an even longer stick, and you'll forever chase it and it will never be enough. The only satisfaction to be had is in knowing, really knowing, that you'll never be satisfied. So don't even bother trying, because deep down, you're just a climber.